called Who Is That Woman? I knew the title of my story before I fully knew my story. And to be honest, I still don't know my story fully because it isn't fully written yet. This is not going to be a story that leads up to a definitive ending, that soundbite that will make you laugh or cry or answer life's questions. My story is like you are joining me on my life journey, just for a little while. So come on, come join me while I open up my little slice of life, the slice of life that's still being written from Radiohead. But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Who is that woman? This past weekend, I slept in a tent for the first time since 1996. In fact, I slept in a tent in the woods for 2 nights. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. So here's my brief history of tent camping. I did not grow up camping. My family did not own a tent. In 1983, my husband and I camped in a tent with our son Jacob, then 4 years old. Jacob woke up in the middle of the night and puked all over everything in the tent. I took the bedding in the middle of the night to the pump and rinsed it off as best I could and stuffed it in a bag. I didn't get to a laundromat for 3 days, and by that time, the stench could have taken down an army. I talked with Jacob on the phone just this morning, and he doesn't remember throwing up in the tent, but he sure doesn't remember that trip to the laundromat. We did not camp again until 1996. At which point, we had 6 of our 7 children. We drove from Massachusetts to Boulder, Colorado. Our tent did not fit all of us, of course. I ended up in the tent with Jacob, the 1983 puker, now 16, and our 2 youngest, ages 2 and 3. My husband and the rest slept in the 15-passenger van. The storm that night produced flash flooding. Rain came in from above the tent through the ceiling. Rain came up from the floor and flooded our tent. Rain came in every side, and the lightning and loudest thundercrack I have ever heard in my entire life caused those of us in the tent to leap into a huddle, shaking, while my 3-year-old shrieked, "The tent is popping! The tent is popping!" We survived, and we never camped again. I led a busy life as a wife, mother, business owner, musician, freelancer, orchestra member, church pianist, professional seamstress, Bible study leader, founder of an orchestra, founder of a fiddle group, founder of a scholarship fund, board member, from scratch type cook, chauffeur to my children, further activities, all let's not forget homeschooling for 25 years, and shall I go on? But a day came when our youngest, Benjamin, grew up and moved out. I had been actively parenting minor children for 38 years. Now, who is that woman? In this slice of life, I hike. And hiking has slowly started to teeter into conversations about that dreaded thought, tent camping. But finally, I knew I was going to try it. Last week, I was talking with Jacob, 1983 puker, 1996 huddler in the tent when the tent was popping. He's now about to turn 45 years old. I started telling him about my upcoming weekend of camping with my hiking friends. He laughed and he said, "You know, Mom, I never had Mom as outdoors woman on my bingo card." I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong. Who is that woman? Well, come along with me and let's find out. I bought a tent last month. I practiced setting it up in my backyard. And then the day came Last Friday, just this past Friday, I drove down to southern Indiana to meet my friend Michelle and her husband Jeff, the organizers of the weekend. I came a day early to soothe my anxiety about setting up a tent in an actual woods. I wanted to give myself time. So Friday night, we drove up the hill to the woods and I got my tent up. Who is that woman? That first night, Michelle's family and I sat around the campfire, sharing stories and our lives, and darkness fell. Then, by the light of the flames, I played a few songs on my recorder. And while I was playing, the coyotes howled back at me, singing with my plaintive music. On Saturday, we met up with the rest of the group and hiked. When we got back, we ate chili, the best chili I ever had. We sat around the fire and laughed and shared. We carved pumpkins. We roasted seeds over the fire. We were all in our tents by 10 or so, worn out by the hiking. I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of owls hooting, and the owls lulled me back to sleep. On Sunday morning, Michelle had coffee ready. When I got up, it smelled so good. But I decided I needed to get my gear together and start taking down my tent because I don't know what I'm doing. And I know I'm a newbie, I'm going to be slow. And then I stopped and I told myself, no, the gear and the tent can wait. I'm going to sit by the fire and sip coffee. Everything will get done. Go have coffee. Go sit, enjoy, talk with friends, or don't talk, and then relax. When I talked with Jacob this morning, I told him about my conscious decision to have coffee around the fire first. And he immediately said, Mom, that's the best thing I've ever heard you say. I said, what? What are you talking about? And he confided that he'd been worried about me for a long time. And it was hard also for him to crystallize what his worries were or how to say it. And then finally he said, well, he felt like I worked too hard. And he was relieved that I finally could recognize that and that it was okay for me to have coffee first. I realized that I spent most of my adult life living for others, focused on other people's goals or my aspirations for them. I don't regret what I've done, but somehow that old worn out saying seems to apply. I lost myself. Or maybe more accurately, I never found myself. I never knew myself until the laxity, the reins had enough laxity for me to wander. I wander on trails and in the woods. I hike miles with people who are 10, 20, 30 years younger than I am. I sweat. I scramble up boulders to a mountaintop at over 7,000 feet of altitude. The coyotes sing with my music. I sleep in a tent and wake up to owls hooting. I make friends and sit with a cup of coffee around the fire. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Who is that woman? Wait, stop. I do belong here. In this slice of life, I am writing my story on a trail that sometimes leads to a tent in the woods. So come along with me, won't you? Just for a bit.